Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You guys are all here. Look at this, you guys. Every time we jump onto a call, I'm like, like all of these people. It's the energy. I can feel it, and it's so exciting. So we're super pumped. Taylor and I are super excited to be bringing you guys these social media calls. I feel like this is probably one of the biggest gaps that I think people that you talk to, they want to enroll, maybe they have no direct sales experience and they don't like, they're nervous about social media. I don't know what I'm doing. And we want to kind of like, we just want to close this gap as much as we can. This is a huge topic. It's a lot of things. We could discuss a lot of things. And it's kind of hard to tailor this to everyone, like, because we're all in different spaces. Some of us have grown social media, some of us are just getting started, some of us have done a lot with it, but maybe we're shifting and we're kind of changing our platform a little bit. There's so many variations, so we're just going to do the best we can in sharing some things that will help you guys. But just know that what we like don't share, we still can share on future calls, because we want to continue to bring you guys this stuff, just so that people, as we grow, people feel supported when they come in and they feel like they have some like guidance, and they don't have to hire a social media coach. Not that we're claiming to be that, but just that there's some guidance and we're filling a gap there. So I'll introduce myself and then Taylor can jump in. So I'm Tabitha, and I actually have been in this space for 10 years. I've been sharing on social media. I've shifted and changed my platform, I don't know how many times, I feel like. At the end of the day, I feel like I've always wanted to share value. Like, it's always just been like, that's kind of at the forefront. I think every time I go to post, every time I go to share, it's like, what value can I share today? Like, what am I going to get across? A piece of my story, a piece of my fire, a piece of, my heart. What am I going to share today that's going to transfer into somebody and give them value to take away? I've done a lot of it not so great, probably. I've thrown a lot of stuff at the wall to see what sticks. I've looked at trending stuff, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that. But I just tend to I like to use that stuff as guidelines. I like to look at like, okay, what are they telling us to do? What are they saying to do? And it's good to take that, but it's also good to realize that we don't actually have to do all of those things, because I feel like that can be where social media can get kind of toxic, and it can feel like we're being pressured to someone.
Everything.
And so I, have grown. I feel like I've grown my early business on Facebook. It's kind of funny. Then I shifted to Instagram. And I'll be honest, since I've started Green Compass, I have found, like, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but like, I feel like Facebook is like fun. And like, I'm like, oh my gosh, people are alive over there, and they want to like be a part of this. And I'm getting really great engagement over there, which is something that I feel like I've lacked personally. And again, that's just my story. That might not be yours. I think wherever you feel like putting your energy is fantastic. So now I'm going to pass it to Taylor, and she can kind of share with you her social media.
Hi guys, I'm Taylor. I've been in network marketing for a little over 4 years now. This is my second company. And I started my network marketing social selling journey on Facebook in a private Facebook group, and built up my income to a full-time within 2 years. And my husband was able to quit his job and come home. And shortly after he quit his job and came home, I was feeling blah with Facebook and, like ghost town, where is everybody? Just so uninspired and right. And that was right about when Reels started really picking up on Instagram. It was like, I don't even know, like 2021. And I started on Instagram, and in the 2 years on Instagram, I have grown to just over 100,000 followers from scratch. And it has been a really fun journey. And social selling, I am so passionate about it. I think that it is the best vehicle to achieve your dreams. And social media is a tool that each one of us have, and we all need to be utilizing it to its full potential. So we are going to be here to help you a couple times a month with all the social media stuff. So I think we're going to cover like some coaching, and then there's going to be time for like hot seat coaching, like real life help with the situation type of things. So Tabitha, you want to start with?
Yeah. So, like, again, I think just to kind of start with this whole thing, I think that the best thing you can do is to do what feels right for you. Like, we can talk about niche and all of that, but it kind of gets, again, that's like a whole other thing. But I think that, like, it's easy to be like, I don't know who. I had this conversation today with one of our leaders. I don't think she's on here. She's like, I'm feeling like I'm confused who I am on social media. Like, who even am I on social media? And I'm like, but you're not confused about who you are. Like, you know who you are, you know what you share, you know what value you have. Okay, so don't let social media like tell you something that it's not when you know what to do, right? And so I think the biggest thing is like thinking about, like, and it might take a few days, it might take a few months. You might be posting and you might not really be feeling super clear on where you're going and what you're doing. And I've felt this way personally, and I think we can all relate. I felt this way multiple times with my business. Like, who the hell am I? Like, I know who I am, but what am I trying to get across? And I'm maybe all over the board. Like, I like this and I like that, and I want to share this. And it's like, I feel like, but then again, if you're paying attention to what Instagram says, then you're supposed to be doing this one thing or this long and narrow. While that can be helpful in ways, I think it can also be super, super distracting and super defeating, because it can kind of almost take away from like what you have to offer, and you have so much to offer, right? So I think at the end of the day, I think it's so important for you to do what feels good to you. And what feels good to you today might not feel good to you in 6 months. Like, again, I've changed mine so many times. It's like, okay, what am I doing now? Who cares, right? Like, this is your journey and it's unique and true to you. So share that. Okay, do you have anything to add to that, Taylor?
No, I agree. I agree.
Okay.
It's, you gotta just tune out the noise. Like, it's so easy to follow all the Instagram gurus who are telling you that you gotta do this, gotta do that, or you gotta post a reel every single day. And not that that's not helpful for some people, but there are many paths to success. And your path to success is going to be what lights you up. And what lights you up is different from what lights me up. And you just have to find what doesn't feel like a chore and a job to do, because at the end of the day, you want to show up in your business. You want to show up to the best of your ability, but you're not going to have fun and you're not going to be lit up if it feels like a chore. And if creating aesthetically pleasing graphics is not your thing, and that to you seems like the worst, like, I would rather, no, don't do it. Like, you don't have to do that. If creating the trendy dancing reels makes you want to crawl in a hole, don't do that. Like, whatever does not light you up, nix it. It doesn't matter what the gurus and the experts are telling you. You got to find where your lane is and what lights you up.
I love that. And it's so true. And I have caught myself so many times, like, not lately, because I feel like I finally feel like, okay, I'm like true to me and I'm able to show up authentically. But like, there were years where I felt like I had to do it the way that someone else did it because they were successful and I was chasing that idea. And I want you to throw that out, because I want you to lean into like what you have to offer and your story. And I think something that's helpful, if you're sitting there feeling like, I have no idea what to share. I have no idea what to share. I draw a blank. I want to do this, but I don't know where to start. The biggest piece of advice I think I could give you, and Taylor and I talked about this earlier, is what are you attracted to? Like, I lean into like the stuff that I'm attracted to and the stuff that kind of like I'm drawn to. And I use that for inspiration sometimes, right? And you can get so many ideas and inspired. I'm never copying someone. I'm just like leaning in. So like, think about the stuff that you're like, what are you drawn to and what lights you up when you see it? We'll utilize your story and transfer that. So basically, one of the big questions for tonight, and we're going to open this up so you guys can ask some questions, because we don't like know all the things that you guys are wanting to know, but we wanted to hit a couple things that we felt like were big things. And since reels are such a big thing, and honestly, just think about this. If reels stress you out, they shouldn't, but I understand the overwhelming idea of them before you get started on them. It's literally a post. It's like it's like Facebook post turned into like a video. You're literally just getting a point across. And what you're actually doing is you're breaking down a problem that you've conquered, essentially, right? Like you're breaking down a problem that you've conquered, and then you're breaking it down in ways that they can do it. And that's where you're adding the value. So Taylor and I came up with like 3 like simple ideas to give you guys like hooks. Okay, this is just 3 examples. You can find these anywhere on Instagram. It's just things that I feel like will grab people's attention. Okay, I've always said this when I do a Facebook post. Every time I do a Facebook post, I will start with something. I will start with, this is just no one taught me this. I just learned it as I grew and shared. I always do a bold statement that's going to draw somebody in. And then I go into a little bit of my story, and then I hit them with some fire, and then I hit them again. And then I tie it up at the end with some like value or some tips or whatever, right? And or call to action or whatever I'm doing. So with your reel, let's just say that you're going to do some like hooks, okay? Because you want to stop them in their tracks. Now, just remember, every single reel doesn't have to be like this profound idea or this profound thing. It can be some of my reels, I post them and I'm like, that was okay. Like, I don't love it. I don't think it's like the best. I don't really like know if it's going to go anywhere, but it's the best that I could do today with the mental capacity I had, and I showed up. And that's literally it. If you can just show up and get over the idea of it's got to be perfect or it's got to be this, but just do it anyways, you're going to be so far ahead of where you were, right? So like 3 ideas of like hooks, okay? And you can make these your own. This is just like a couple things we came up with. So like, what if you said something like, I finally started to feel better when ... I finally started to feel better when you what? Like, and this doesn't always have to be about CBD, of course. This is just like your journey, your purpose, your heart, your tips, your problem that you conquered. The second one we came up with was 3 ways I have become a more patient mom. And how many people do you think can relate with that? And I think when you think
that's
it's really good. Go ahead.
That's a really good one too, because you can sandwich CBD in there with 2 other things where you're not selling. It's free, you know, and a morning routine of being intentional with my workout, getting outside first thing in the morning. It doesn't really matter, but you can sandwich other value tips in there along with CBD. So it's not like it's just a different way to share about CBD where it's more mellow and like you're planting the seed, you're not going in for the sale. And every type of content you post is different. Not every reel is, like Tabitha said, going to be viral worthy. Not every reel is not your A+ content where it's the best you've ever created, but every reel you're learning something. You're growing, you're practicing your consistency muscle, you're growing in how you show up and how you feel comfortable. And that in itself is worth it. Like going viral is not what it has cracked up to be. Like it's not, because those people don't stick around. They don't buy from you. They don't know you. They're not building trust unless you're, of course, like in stories, like you're going to convert some of them. I'm not saying going viral is completely pointless, but a lot of those followers don't end up buying. So it's about connecting and really bringing value to people so that they can trust you and they're coming to you and they're in your messages and they're in your comments asking you and chatting with you and having that like conversation and connection.
Absolutely. And then the third idea that we had was like another hook would be like the biggest lesson I learned. This is mine. I just said like the biggest lesson I learned when I got sober. Like something like that. Like doesn't have to be that for you, obviously, but just something like that you can share a piece that's like a bold statement about. It doesn't have to be bold, but I just think that bold statements do grab people's attention. And it just is that connection piece that we're kind of looking for. Basically, we're looking for engagement and connection and building, like Taylor said, basically, like if we're looking to just sell them, if our motive is to like, if I'm posting this reel today because I want to sell somebody something, I'm going about it the wrong way, because that's not the goal. The goal isn't to go viral. The goal isn't to sell someone something with this reel. The goal is to connect at a deeper level, to create engagement, so that people do actually trust you to where they're like, yeah, of course I'm going to buy what she's doing or selling, because like she showed up consistently. She's been here. Like I've seen her. I've watched her grow. I've watched her add value. I've watched her show up, and you know, whatever it is. And I think that's what people can really relate to. So anything else, Taylor, on that?
No, I don't know. It's
Uh,
just people are going to buy from the people that they have relationships with, that they know, that they said, oh, she took the time to respond back to me. Like I asked her a question and she responded back, or, oh, she took the time to respond back to my stories. Like we don't want to also get into the passive part of social media, because this could be a whole nother training, which me and Tabitha talked about, but we can be in the active driver's seat and reaching out to people and engaging with them and watching their stories, and people, that goes a long way with somebody. Like you taking the time to, you can't do this with everybody, obviously, you only have a limited amount of hours in the day, but having a list of 5 or 10 people on Instagram that you're actively building a relationship with, and you make it a point every day to watch their stories or to check in on them a couple times a week, or maybe they posted something like their husband's going through something, or they've got a health crisis or whatever. Write it down in your calendar a week from today to message them and see how they're doing. Those types of going the extra mile is what people love, and people feel loved when you do that to them, which I'm all about spreading love and sharing that with everybody, and doing that goes the extra mile. And then people are like, yeah, I'm totally buying from her, or thank you so much, you answered my question. Yeah, for sure. Like it's just a level of trust and connection. So that was like a whole tangent, but the whole point of the social media is to get people connecting with you, and then you're building those relationships and you can be in the driver's seat.
absolutely. And as you do it, and as you grow with it, and you just show up anyways, no matter what, like no matter what the belief or the story is, or the idea that like, you know, people don't respond to your stuff or whatever, it's like I literally throw stuff up sometimes and I think, I don't know if this is going to do anything, and sometimes it doesn't. On my stories, like I try to show up on my stories every single day, and I try to share a variety of things, not just about my business, but about just random stuff, right? My personal life, things that like people just feel like I'm not selling them something all the time. Um Not that that's a bad thing at the same time too, because they're buying stuff all over on social media, so who cares if we're sharing something, right, that like we love and that we're excited about. But I think just that connection piece of engaging. But the other piece is I want you guys to also remember that I'm not just throwing stuff up on social media and everybody and their brother is just clicking my link and buying. The amount of conversations that I'm having in the back end of things is unreal. And it is because of the engagement. It is because of the people that are, you know, asking me questions maybe about it. But I want you guys to make sure that you're also thinking, not just like posting and thinking, okay, like nothing's happening, but you're also like, that's where the connection piece comes in. And that's where the conversations are always going to be the backbone of your business, not your social media. Just my opinion. The social media is a great avenue, and it really definitely is the connection piece, but we've got to actively be kind of seeking, like going, whether that's through your list that you're working off of, whether that's the people that you're connecting with, but making sure to have those conversations and work through those as well. Okay, so that was kind of the meat of what we wanted to discuss, because we knew that, or we thought that you guys would have some questions, and we didn't want to just go on this whole like tangent and then you guys not feel like you had your questions answered or any concerns or things. So I would love if you guys wanted to, either you can ask the question in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself and just ask the question, because you can ask anything, like whether it's about reels or content or stories or messages, like we can talk about that too.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I have found I love creating my content for like my reels. But I've found that sometimes it takes me forever to do it. It seems time consuming at times. Do you know of any way where like I could use AI to kind of speed up the process of content creation?
Taylor, do you want to take that one?
I'm not well versed in AI at all.
Me neither.
Zero knowledge. But I know that, yeah, you can like ChatGPT, and like even Canva now has an AI thing, but I don't know for Reels. I know that you can use like apps like CapCut or InShot that kind of have like pre-made templates, like real templates that you can kind of grab from those apps and then utilize them. But really when you're thinking about creating Reels, it can be as simple as like, you can use a lot of B-roll content too. So if you're sitting at your desk working, like put a camera and put your phone right there and record yourself for a few minutes just at your computer, or sitting on the reading a book or journaling or walking down the street. Like, and you can put a little whatever, like you can take content, whatever. It doesn't have to be a whole production where you're like, in the whole outfit and the makeup. Like you can just show up as you lounging on the couch and put, something over top of that. Or if you're doing a reel where it's just like a talking one, like you're just right in front, and limit, like I'm gonna record myself 10 times.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I'm not gonna keep, because when I first started reels, like it was like, I'm gonna take 3 hours to record this 10-second clip. Like set a limit. And yeah, it doesn't have to be a whole production. Like I know that some of the trendy reels, like they've got all the different angles and they've got like the text going, and it doesn't always have to be like that. Like obviously it can be. But yeah, okay. Stephanie's saying cloud.ai is another one.
And I saw a girl on Instagram too say, and I just have thought about this since she said it. She said, I just take video all the time. Like video clips of videos, like all the time. Like when you're out and about and like maybe you see scenery, or maybe you like just like snip bits of video, to where you have that, to where you could literally just take something and put something, like you found a quote and it says, like I've seen so many reels where it's like, I read this quote the other day, and it's like this profound quote, and it's not even their content. It's like they just said, I read this quote the other day and here you go. And people share that stuff, right? And so it's just things like that that you can kind of have in your back pocket, to where when you don't have time and you don't want to record yourself, or you don't have time to record yourself, you can still show up. You just didn't have to like really be on. Okay, Mandy, I got you, girl. Okay, so you've had probably 8 to 10 people reach out and ask questions about CBD, and you've answered the questions and connected with them and even built some carts, but they haven't clicked purchase. This is probably going to happen to like the majority of the conversations that you have, because this is just normal. It's just normal for people to see the cart and not maybe take action on the cart. And so I would just reach out and just like, and I've had people say like, how many days do you wait? And this is like, I mean, I'm very persistent. So I say I wait like a day or two at the most before I'm just back in checking in to be like, hey, like I just want, especially if they said they were like ready to purchase, right? Then it's like, I want to help them purchase. So it's like, and you can, there's no right answer. It's just like, maybe it's 5 days for you, and maybe it is for me, depending on my schedule. And when I get back to everybody to do a follow-up. But if you just, I think just ask them like, hey, I just wanted to check back in. I didn't know if you had a chance to look at the information or the cart that I sent over. That's literally question mark. Like I literally will keep it super short and simple, and just ask them like if they've had a chance to look into it. And I think it's okay if you say like, hey, I didn't want to bother you. Like you can say that if you want, like, hey, I didn't want to bother you. I just wanted to reach back out and see if you had any questions about what I had sent over. Yeah, exactly, Michael. I will harass you until you purchase. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like the worst at that. See, I'm like, oh, I'll check back in like 2 weeks. Like, but I always like to use the line like, I would love to get you started with CBD. Like, I would love to help you add CBD to your routine. I would love to help you add CBD wellness into or CBD into your wellness routine or whatever. And like, say something like that, where it's like, come on, we want to get you seeing results. Like, let's go. Let's get going.
Yeah, for sure. I just think the follow-up is key, and how often you do it is totally up to you. It's just a matter of like, when do you want them to order? And if you want to help them get started, then I think the sooner the better to follow up. Okay, there was another, and then I want to really quickly talk. Holly asked a question that I forgot to write down, and it was about stories. And I think Taylor maybe does this different than I do it, but like and not everybody will do this, and you don't need to be expected to do this. I feel like I do this because I've done this so long that I just go for it. Okay. So I just get on my stories and I just like, hey guys, like blah, blah, blah. Like I just start talking. Okay. Now you don't have to do this. You can pre-record. Taylor's laughing at me. So you can pre-record this and then you can put it on your stories if you want. I just like to be organic and on the fly, but I know that that's not everybody's jam. And until you feel like comfortable, so you don't have to do that. But that's how I do it. That's how I get them to flow and record in that way. Cause that's what Holly was asking. How do you get your stories to flow? Well, because I just hold the button and talk, and I see when it's starting to run out, and then I cut myself off, and then I add my captions because I like to add captions, and then I post it, and then I go right into the next one. But I think Taylor records maybe in her camera, if I'm correct, or something.
Yeah, well, I got a whole process. Like, I'm not an on the fly person. Like, I want to write out notes. I want to know what points I'm going to cover while I'm talking. So I will sometimes, it depends. Like sometimes I do record in camera. What's really nice is that you can record obviously on your regular phone camera, and then you can add it to Instagram and you can cut out pieces. You can like crop and like do what needs to be done. But I love to just write out notes of like what I'm going to say and like just points that I want to make, because I get very flustered easily. And I'll be like talking about some tangent and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even need to say. But then when it comes to like actual like graphics and stuff, same thing. Like I write out all my stuff, make sure that it flows very nicely. But I think going on the fly, that's where the authenticity really shines through, because you're able to just be you in the moment, and it's not like a robot kind of scripted, like super professional. Like it's just you, and that's legit. That's what people really, really like. I think Melody has a question too. She put in the chat that she has a question.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Melody. You can unmute if you want.
Yeah, so I'm more well versed in the animal field, and I have a huge following of the animal side of things. So when I recommend something or educate people on things, they're more likely to do like what I'm recommending. So I was just wondering if there's like more content for like the animal side of things, because I'm not really well versed in CBD right now, and I would like to be on that side, especially for the animal aspect.
No, that's a good question. I don't have a great answer for you. I can definitely check into this to see and let you know. Okay, so Emily Ritzer, she's on here, and that's who I would ask anyways. And so she's saying that CBD and animals have the same ECS that we do. But are you asking if we have specific like graphics and content around that to where you can easily post it just specifically towards like not vet, but like animals, right? That's what you're asking.
Yeah, and like what the different types of animals you can use it for and things like that, because I take care of more than just cats and dogs. Like
Right.
I do exotic animals, small animals, stuff like that. So I would like to learn more about it and like what all that it can help with, other than just like anxiety in the nervous system.
I love that. So they're saying that any mammals, And they're saying in the product hub, which is actually where the next thing I was gonna say, any animal with a spine. And she's saying in the product hub, which I'm assuming you're in that. If you're not, tell us. But it's the product hub, by the way, anyone can be added to the product hub. It's literally it's a lot of advocates are in there, probably every advocate, but it's for prospects, technically, just for people to see testimonies with Green Compass and the products. So if you would just go in there and maybe even type in the animal, type in any keywords that you're wanting to like check on that aspect of things. I would like play around in there and see what you can find, because it sounds like there's some good stuff in there.
Okay, I don't think I am, but
Okay.
I would definitely like to be added to that.
We'll make sure you get in there, okay? So I'll make sure after we get done with this call that I get you in there. And Emily's saying you can message her on Facebook if you need help with the animals, because she's
Okay, thank you.
versed in this more so. Oh, good.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so what else did I miss? Oh yeah, so Holly says she has a few things that she can send to because she's researched with her Dane.
Evelyn has a question. You can hop off mute, Evelyn, or put it in the chat too.
Okay. So my question is, because I have so many avenues of what I'm sharing, I guess this question may be more towards Taylor. I don't know, Tabitha, I follow a little, but I'm not sure if you're in a lot of avenues. But what would be your best recommendation so it doesn't feel like I'm selling a bunch of products? Because I have Crunchy, and then I have a couple other affiliate accounts now, and so I'm doing a lot of affiliation for a lot of other companies. I don't want my content to constantly look like I'm just trying to sell, where I'm actually wanting to educate, and I want to also throw Green Compass in there. What would be your best recommendation for that? Because I will be honest, I'm not organized. I'm more of a Tabitha. I'm just like, whoo, let's go, let's do this. Show up, and I'm just that. But I do need a little bit more organization, because I was doing great at first, and now I'm like, oh wait, now I feel like I'm sounding like a billboard.
Yes. So for me personally, I would say, like, honestly, 90% of my selling in stories. So my feed is staying very value focused, educational, connection type content. So by continuing to share that type of content on my feed, I give myself a little bit more leeway to be, quote unquote, salesy in my stories, because I am continuing to provide value on my feed and continue to provide value in stories too. I do recommend having a content calendar though, and it doesn't have to be full, like a calendar and you've got like all the things. It can just be like, okay, on Monday you want to share Crunchy in your stories, and on Tuesday you really want to share Earthly, and then you want to share Air Doctor, and then you want to share Green Compass, whatever. But that you're sharing, you're not doing 3 in one day. You're not doing, like, you can kind of visually see where you're sharing everything, so you can know, like, okay, it's not a lot. And 2, people have to see things a lot of times. A lot of times. So if you're sharing Green Compass in your stories, 3 to 4 times a week, but you're sharing Green Compass each time, you're sharing it from a different angle. Like maybe one time you're sharing testimonials, and then the next time it's you taking the product, and then the next time you're sharing a reel where you're sharing the benefits of CBD or whatever. But you're hitting CBD from different angles, where it's not going to resonate in people's heads that you're selling, and that it's even the same thing. Because while you're talking about CBD, it's a different angle, and it's not like the billboard type, buy from me, or here's the link. Like, it's leading with value. And you have to also, this is a mindset shift, but people are looking for what we have. They are wanting to be sold to. They are looking for less stress. They're looking for herbal remedies. They're looking for that. And us sharing the products and sharing how they're authentically fitting into our lives doesn't necessarily have to be seen as selling, because if you're sharing this, you're taking in the morning, like, you're not even trying to sell. you're just products. And if somebody, you know, you're planting that seed to hopefully eventually get the sale, but you're just sharing your morning CBD routine. So it doesn't have to always feel salesy, but I do recommend, like, if you're a visual type person, you could even make it like in list form, but at least having kind of like an outline game plan of, okay, I know my goal is to share Green Compass 4 times this week. And then I'm going to share, you know, Crunchy, Boom, and Boom. And I'm going to share, you know, and you can map it out. And then too, if you're feeling like you're being too salesy, you can like a value sandwich something. So like you can share something value driven, and then like share your selling sequence, and share something funny or relatable or value driven again. And you're kind of like sandwiching the sales. So there's like some buffer there.
Yeah, I love that. That was good. And I think too, you know, at the end of the day, like this week, if I could tell you anything to, as you like navigate through your week and you share, it's like, just have fun with it. Just like allow yourself to be creative, allow yourself to just like share and put it out there. And it's like, what has this done for you? Or why are you here? Or what do you want to offer people? Or what do you have to share? Or you know, you have a voice, and we all do, and we get to share it. And it's where we are doing ourselves such a big disservice. And we're doing actually people, it's this ripple effect, right? And we're doing people a disservice if we're just like holding this in our hands and we're not putting it out there. And it's not like, look at Taylor and I's platforms. Like they're very different. We both have different styles, but at the end of the day, it works, right? And we just do us. And it's like, there's no right or wrong way. And I want you guys to know that as you continue to like be patient with yourself in this space of social media where none of us have it figured out. I'm just telling you, I don't have it figured out. I don't know. I do stuff that I think's great. And I'm like, yeah, that didn't really do well. That didn't really do well at all. And so it's just like, go on. It's almost just like the idea that like Taylor said earlier when we were talking, it's not the one post that's like, it's not the end all be all, right? Like the one post, this one thing today is not like, oh my gosh, my business depends on this one post or this one reel. And if this doesn't go, or this doesn't get seen, or people don't interact with it, I must not be for me. Like I must be like, I can't do this, you know? And it's like, we're the first to shoot ourselves down when it doesn't matter. Like try again and try again and try again. And I'm telling you right now that the people that are meant to see this and the people that need to see this are going to come into your path when they're supposed to. And it's going to be beautiful and it's amazing. And you have so much to offer and share. So, all right. I think so too, Dawn. I'm with you. I think social media is such a mindset. It can be such a mindset block if we allow it. And so I encourage you to shift. Maybe if you feel like you're having a negative mindset about it, or you feel overwhelmed, just do one thing, do 1 or 2 things today or this week. Like just ease into it, find your consistency rhythm, right? Like I hate the word balance because I think we never figure out balance because our lives change and things change and shift. And like, we never really feel maybe truly balanced. But what about your rhythm? Like find your own rhythm with what that means for you with your social media. It has nothing to do with anybody else's. Doesn't matter. You show up for you and be proud of yourself for doing it, because it takes courage and not everybody's willing to do it, but you guys are. So I hope this was helpful. We are going to keep doing these for you guys, which I'm really excited. So keep like thinking of things as you get, you know, stuck. Hopefully you don't, but like if you get something that you're like, man, I would love to learn how to do this or whatever, we'll hone in on this. And then as we bring more people in, this is going to be a really cool tool that we can just offer our advocates that come in who feel the same blocks around social media that we've all felt. And we want to just limit that. So, okay, we can do that for sure. All right, you guys, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being on, and we'll talk soon. Bye.